Honorable Roxanne Dafiamakpo came in. In the process, you had the majority leader himself. No, Mr. Chair, if you allow. Mr. Chair, if you allow.
Point of order.
We have had situations where, whilst I was responding, your colleagues came in rudely. I kept quiet. You again said we should have a moment outside to have a discussion. Then out of the blue, you come in to give the floor to Honorable Ahmed Shaibu. Mr. Chair, I told you that you rudely interrupted my submission when you had given the opportunity. Again, you realize that Honorable Ahmed Kofi-Boah, without giving him the opportunity, he came in to interrupt. Even the Honorable Ayariga, on 2 occasions, he interrupted, and I kept my calm. Chairman, it is upon the 2 of us to steer the affairs of this committee. I think that as chair, I didn't say co-chair. You see, Chairman, you see the rude interruption? Chairman, you see the rude interruption? They will not listen. Chairman, your members will not listen. We listen to you. They will not listen to us. We listen to you. They don't listen to us. Mr. Chairman, we listen to you. You don't listen to. I'm not saying, Chairman, let me finish. Chairman, I am. No. But you.
Honorable members, order. Honorable members, order. Honorable Muntala Mohammed, the ruling that I have given in respect of Brian Achampong applies to you. So here you remain silent. I have the list here.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, my view. Chairman, my view is that the approach being adopted by the majority is unacceptable. Very unacceptable.
Honorable Muntala, I have checked the records, and you are here as a subject matter committee leader for roads and highways. So I apologize to you, and honorable leader, he's here on a point of order. Let me listen to him as a member of the committee.
Mr. Chairman, I raise my hand on point of relevance. Mr. Chairman, this committee is an extension of Parliament. So the rules and regulations governing the conduct of every single one of us on the floor is the same thing that must govern our conduct here. Nobody has any right to start speaking when he is not asked to do so by the chair. I get the sense that everybody does what he or she wants. More so when they put on the mic. Of course, even at plenary, you can make any comment as long as you don't speak in the speaker. When you are not recorded, every single statement that is made here, every single statement, the difference between myself and you is that I attended side too, but I'm here with you, sharing the same. You've forgotten. We are here. So, Mr. Chairman, I'm saying that nobody has any right to make any comment except that he is given the opportunity to do so by the speaker. When you gave your ruling, that should be the end of any discussion on the matter. And I'm surprised that my good friend, Honorable Afenyo Markins, this is his 4th term. I came to Parliament with him. I expect him he understands the rules. He has been the majority leader. He should be the last person who should be engaged in disregarding the rules governing the conduct of members of parliament, most members of this committee. So I'll urge him, once the speaker has given his ruling, that should be the end. If he has any comment to make, he can do so after we have even, we left this particular process. He can do so. He would have the opportunity to make his closing remarks. He would have the opportunity to ask his questions. But we have spent more than 1 hour here. More than 1 hour. We have not even gone into the resume, if you like, of the person. Nothing. So I would urge my good friend, Honorable Afenyo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Murtala.
The regulations
The
govern
point
conduct
is
of
well
meetings.
taken. Honorable Ranking Member. No. You see, Honorable Brian Achampong. Honorable members, order. I apologize to him because I've not advented my mind to the list before me. And by adventing my mind to the list, he's here in his capacity as a leader for the subject matter committee, which is roads and highways. That is why I have given him the floor to speak. Honorable members, the issue on the floor is that Honorable Ranking and Minority Leader use unparliamentary language, to which rudely interrupted, which is similar to what a backbencher has done the day of our very first sitting. He was asked to withdraw and apologize. Similarly, taking a lesson from that, having used the same word, I am urging upon him to honorably withdraw the unparliamentary language, apologize, and let's make progress.
Chairman, the context of the use of the phrase rudely interrupted did not amount to disrespect. No, let me finish. Chairman, you see, we all keep our calm, but you don't look to your right. You know what is happening to your right. Please. Chairman, the rate at which I get interrupted is very unacceptable. However, if as you sit to my right as a chair, you feel that the phrase is unacceptable, I think that it's appropriate that same is taken back, and to express my key concern to you that the rate at which I am being interrupted is unacceptable. Chairman, having said that, I would want to say that the purpose for which.
So, honorable members, the word rudely interrupted should be expunged from the record.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, that said, I believe that you called off the meeting to enable us address a few issues. We had gone into caucus for just 5 minutes, and we were to come back to you so that we resolve the matters, the reason you call off the meeting, so that we make progress. Chairman, I would plead with you that the approach should be such that all of us will be satisfied. There was a good reason for you saying that we should suspend sitting. Without engagement, you came in to start the meeting. Chairman, I would want to urge upon you to let us resolve the matter and then have a peaceful start.
Thank you very much. But Honorable Minority Leader and then Ranking, with all due respect, we have a relationship. The meeting was suspended for 5 minutes, particularly for you and I to engage. I took the lead outside, waiting for you. Honorable Brian Champon, you are being interruptive. I don't expect this from you. I don't expect this from you. Please, former minister, I don't expect this from you. When I walk out, I was waiting for you. You did not come to tell me anything. I only heard that you want 2 minutes and have waited there when the public is aware that I have given 5 minutes. I've therefore decided to resume duty after the expiration of the 5 minutes. That was what really happened. So, honorable members, with all due respect, the majority chief whip, minister designate for roads and highways, have been sitting close to 2 hours. Can we make progress? With all due respect, can we make progress? The preliminary issues have taken close to 2 hours, which should not be the case. So, honorable chief whip, I plead with you to give me the opportunity to continue with the proceedings. You would have your turn very soon. So, Honorable Shaibu, please proceed.
As a nominee, you may continue to answer the question. Or if you want me to repeat it, that's fine. Yeah. So I had stated clearly that a few years ago, your predecessor, the Honorable Amoakwata, was in this very hall answering questions at his vetting. He intimated that 1.56 billion Ghana cedis was in the road sector debt that was left behind for them to clear. I trust that they would have cleared all by now. What is the status as we speak? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Once again, I thank my colleagues for giving me the opportunity to appear before them. Yes, the question asked by my respected colleague is something the whole country must pay attention to. Indeed, in 2017, our respected colleague, who is no longer a member of parliament, in his word, was alarmed by the fact that the NDC government was leaving a commitment debt of 17 billion Ghana cedi in the road sector and 1.5 billion cedi that being certificates approved, which were not paid. At the transition committee, it turns out that as of today, I've not been to the ministry yet, what they presented to the committee, the NPP government is leaving a minimum of 100 billion Ghana cedi commitment. What you should be worried about, though, is that in that same document, they are saying that certificates unpaid as of today from GOG amounts to about 20 billion Ghana cedis. The ones with road fund is about 15 billion Ghana cedi. What you should be more worried about, my brothers and sisters and colleagues listening to us from outside of this hall, is that if you take the indebtedness up to 2025, which is the road fund debt alone, out of the 15 billion, look at these details. In 2018, we were owing about 113 million Ghana cedi. The interest on the 113 million Ghana cedi this year will be 665 million Ghana cedi. The debt was 113. The interest on the 113 is 665 million. When you take 2019, 210 million. The interest on the 230 million is 960 million Ghana. 2020, we were owing 424 million. The interest on the 424 million is 1.5 billion. 2021, the debt was 616 million. The interest on that is currently 1.69 billion. 2022, 693 million, and currently 1.4 billion. The question is, how do I explain this to the taxpayers in Adaklu? that we owe 113 million, and the interest on the 113 million is 665 million. I believe the issues about the road sector concerns all of us. Everybody here wants better road to our communities. These are not monies that have been thrown away, but it's because of the way contracts are written in this country, which says that if somebody raises a certificate and you don't pay after a period of time, 30% interest accrues on it. So this, as a result of the 30%, we are made to pay 15 billion on road fund alone. The question is, the 20 billion that is, GOG, what will be the interest on that? Nobody knows. If the interest on 4 billion is together is 15 billion, imagine what it will be. So I believe the way forward, if I am approved by this House, is to sit down with the finance minister to see how we can deal with it. This cannot continue. This is not value to Ghana. This is not value to the contractor. This is money being wasted. We cannot accept that you owe somebody 4 billion, and in this year, you are going to pay a total of 15 billion, that is principal plus interest. This cannot continue. This is something that the Ghanaian taxpayer, it means that today, if you collect 10 billion tax today, you are going to give the 10 billion tax as tax waivers, which is not tax waivers, like interest, which is nothing. So, Honorable Chairman, this is a very serious matter, and I want all countrymen and women to avert our minds to it. This is not about NDC or NPP. Like I said, these road projects are in our communities. So how we deal with it is something that must attract the attention of our country so that we put a stop to it. This is not sustainable. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Honorable Shaibu. By the rules, you have one follow-up question relating to the answer provided. Do you have any follow-up?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
So please proceed with your follow-up.
Honorable nominee, you have stated clearly that interest is one of the biggest problems that we have. If you look at the composition of the debt, understandably, you don't expect a contractor who has gone to borrow at 50% interest to do your work, and then you expect him not to add whatever he has on it. So is it a question of contracting which you intend to look at, or a question of looking for other sources of funding to pay off contractors as quickly as possible? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. It's both. Indeed, not every contract in our country attracts interest in terms of delays. So, and I also agree with you that when a contractor gets a project and is encouraged to go and borrow money to execute that project, and he goes to borrow money and is paying interest, and when he raises certificate and is not paid, of course, the bank is expecting him to pay the principal plus the interest. But what I'm saying is that this cannot continue. I don't know how the finance minister is going to fund this, because I foresee easily a situation where he's going to have to find 50 billion. And out of that 50 billion, majority of that money is not work done in your community or my community. It's interest. And I don't think Ghanaians will be happy with any of us. So the finance minister's responsibility would be to sit down with the sector ministers to deal with this unsustainable interest compounding daily, including today, so that we can make it possible for us to derive value for the monies we spend on our projects. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chief Whip.
Okay, Chairman, thank you very much. Let me...
No, you hold on.
Chief Whip, congrats. I heard you quite well when you spoke to, at length, looking at the interest and debt that has accrued over the years. And you beautifully also added that when this House is gracious enough to approve you, you will sit with the finance minister. That was your first statement. And then you also wondered how the finance minister will navigate in the face of the difficulties. I also know you have been ranking on the Rules Committee for a while. If you put all together, you should be telling us solutions. And being aware of all these challenges, what are some of the solutions you want to profess in the wake of the difficulties we have? Yes, we are all aware of the difficulties, the interests, and all that. What are the solutions? I heard you on your political platform and all the good things you said, referencing your manifesto and all that. Tell us some solutions.
Thank you very much. I think this is a very important question. First of all, whatever solutions we have, we still owe and we have to pay. That is why I referenced the finance minister to start with. How is he going to raise the money? I don't know at the moment. It is his responsibility to raise the money. But I think additionally, what we should be doing is to sit down with the industry players, contractors, and the agencies that are awarding road contract. We need to sit down with them. The way we contract, the way we write some of the contracts have to be reviewed. Government itself need to take a step back to find out whether it is appropriate to keep awarding projects when no one knows where the projects are going to be financed. Take the 2024 budget. Go to capital expenditure section. You may realize that the entire amount there that is for capital expenditure at the road sector may not be more than 4 billion Ghana cedi. Yet, this year alone, or last year alone, the quantum of projects awarded is probably fourfold. So why is it possible to award projects 4 times what has been allocated for you in the budget? So it is something we need to work out with. And the easiest way to do this is to sit down with the industry players, the contractors, and the awarding agencies to come up with something that does not actually make the contractor worse off, because we want to build their capacity, and they're also businessmen that are employing people. And also make it possible for government to be able to pay for what we are actually contracted to do between ourselves and the contractors. So the synergy between these should be able to find us a solution that is more sustainable than what we have currently. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Leader.
Mr. Chairman, I have a follow-up question. Mr. Chairman, Honorable Kwame Govins Abuja, congratulations.
Thank you, boss.
Mr. Chairman, the nominee happens to be my chief whip. I've worked with him closely for 2 years. I know his competence, and he's one person I can vouch for his competence at any point in time. Mr. Chairman, in his answer, he said, so far, the immediate past government, the MPP government, has left behind contracts worth 100 billion cedis. Contract, commitment, it's contract. Commitment is contract. So you don't just commit, you commit through contracts. So contracts through 100 billion cedis. And apart from that, you have 20 billion Ghana cedis being unpaid certificates, GOG, and 15 billion Ghana cedis unpaid certificate at the road fund. 100, 20, 15, 135 billion Ghana cedis. The national budget, the appropriations, is just in excess of 200 billion cedis. In excess of 200 billion cedis. 135 is approximately 60-something% of the whole budget, including wages, salaries, and everything, debt service, and everything. Are you trying to say that we should cede the whole budget to the road sector, vis-a-vis what has been left behind because of what the previous government has left behind? Previous government has left behind. The total road sector commitment and arrest is just enough for a whole year's budget. Is that what you are trying to say?
Chairman, the situation is even worse than that. The 100 billion commitment, because these projects, some of them are designed and built. Let me give you an example. On the way to your own constituency, the rehabilitation and upgrading of Kasua to Akoti Road. The contract sum is about 1 billion Ghana cedi. That's lot 1. And then that is kilometer 0 to kilometer 12. Akoti to Winneba. That leads to the respected minority leaders constituency. That one is 987 million Ghana cedi. The remark is that new figures to be agreed. What it means is that these figures are not stable. So the 100 billion I gave you is not cost to complete. This is the projected figure as of the time this report was prepared. So you would surely have to find extra money by the time you complete this project. So cost to complete will be more than this. Do I expect you? No, because education, healthcare, even the salaries of teachers and ourselves have to be paid as item 1 things. That is why I think the way out is to sit down. Maybe everybody involved in this must be prepared to take some level of responsibility. How we do it, I'll defer that to you as the finance minister. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Honorable Nyako, please note it down as your substantive question. If I will give you the floor very soon. Honorable Shaibu, your second substantive question.
Chairman, most grateful. Honorable nominee, one fine evening, we're seated and a Minister of State writes a letter asking that all toll booths and bridges be suspended without recourse to Parliament. First of all, I want to know your take. Legal or illegal, and what are the consequences? Then secondly, what is your position on the reintroduction of the toll booths? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. The issue of road toll is a matter that has attracted national attention. Our side has been consistent. I must take this opportunity to actually commend a former colleague in this house, Honorable Ediomi. Some time ago, when Honorable the former minister, Inusa Fuseni, was minister, the accruals to the road fund was just around 250 million annually. We sat down and found out that we could enhance that, which means more money will be made available to improve our road. Honorable Ediomi was the ranking at that time. He worked with us, and we worked with the finance minister. That is why you saw the road fund accruals increase in that year to 1.25 billion, and today it's over 2 billion. When the issue of the road toll started, our side, Honorable former minority leader, together with me and the former road minister, Honorable Makwata, decided to caution government that do not cancel or suspend road toll. Let's rather find ways of plugging the leakages in terms of the collection and enhance it. Honorable Haruna and myself met Honorable Amakwata and gave our commitment that don't cancel it. Indeed, we were surprised on the day the road toll, they claimed they zeroed it. For me, it was an act of illegality. Yes, they said they just zeroed it. But it was, a road fund has got an act. It's a law. So you couldn't unilaterally do that. As a result, I believe there was some level of negligence in the way it was done. They claimed road toll was accruing only about 80 million. But today, there are contractors working for government of Ghana who are owed 5,000 cedis within the roadside. Can you imagine how many roadside weed clearers will be paid with 80 million? So they cancelled it. And our side consistently stood on principle and said, bring the road toll back. Yes, the road toll is coming back, but not in the form of building obstructions on the road for drivers to stop and somebody taking money from them. It will be coming back based on a technological platform that make it fair and that make it easy to collect, easy to account for, and for the public to know what the money is actually being used for. Together with the road minister, we shall come out with a policy as to how that will be done. That is my response.
Honorable Mahama Shabu, any follow-up?
Yes, thank you
Oh,
so much,
substantive
Mr. Nominee. I'm glad you mentioned mechanization because one of the biggest challenge is to leave Parliament at 8 o'clock, then go and queue on the motorway for another 2 hours just to pay road toll. Glad you mentioned mechanization. How about the disabled who were fully and gainfully employed at the tolls? Will mechanization be a part of the structure that will bring them on? Or you want to leave them out completely? Thank you.
Yeah, not at all. I happen to be in touch with some of the former toll booth workers, and they visited me. My colleagues on the road committee know, including my respected ranking Honorable Osei, knows that we've been meeting them. Some of them have moved on, looking for different jobs, but we know some of them are there. If we're going to run this on a new technological platform, we need to find out how many of them can actually participate, if they need retraining or whatever role they can play. So indeed, if it's coming back, we should be able to provide opportunity for some of those who have got experience in working in the toll booths. Though there will not be toll booths, if we can re-engage them in other sectors, we should be able to do that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable Shabu, you have the last substantive question, if any.
Most grateful, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Nominee, can you just give us a fair idea of what the road network, the quantum, the mileage is as of today, and what you intend to do to improve on the road network in Ghana?
Chairman, the data from the road agencies put unconfirmed data of close to 100,000 kilometers. That is the road network in various stages. Half of that is motorable. When I say motorable, it doesn't mean they are all sealed, but they are roads you can drive on. The other half is not in a state that is very good, so we need to work on them. Indeed, there are various degrees of road. The roads leading to farms don't have to be asphalted. So we need to work out the need and find out, first of all, how we make roads motorable. Sometimes, if you check, some roads basically need spot improvement. That is, a section is in a deplorable state. Go and fix that one within a reasonable time, especially before the rain starts. If you leave it, it becomes a major problem. So what we'll be doing is to take a holistic review of the road network and see what we can do to make quick interventions to those sections that are the worst and gradually bring it up to meet those that are in the better condition.
Thank you very much. Any follow-up?
Chairman, I wish the nominee all the best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Chief Whip.
Honorable, my good friend, Cheweb, on the toll, I'm happy how informed you are. And I can testify a number of discussions I've had with you personally and your professional advice you've professed. But I'm not a prophet of doom, though. I anticipate you are going to have difficulty because you have stood on political platform to say, oh, Ghanaians are suffering, cost of living is high and all, blah, 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 blah. How are you going to justify the introduction of some levy or tax against all the things you've told Ghanaians? Don't be careful you don't attract the anger of the Mr. President, because Mr. President has said that the price of Kenke is going to reduce. The price of export price of petrol is going to go down. So my real concern for you, my good friend.
Honorable Chief Whip, what has the price of Kenke got to do with the issue
in context of cost
under
of living.
reference?
Speaker, it's
Please,
important.
go ahead and
Speaker, be
ask your
liberal.
question.
So I have a lot of sympathies. The young, handsome Adaklu, Member of Parliament, arguably very successful Chief Whip. How are you going to balance the scale? You are introducing a levy, a tax, and yet your party, who has won to become constitutional government, has said that cost of living is going to go down. Would your levy reduce cost of living or to rather increase it? And how are you going to have the confidence to introduce it?
Thank you very much, Chairman. The good thing is that the reintroduction of road toll was part of what we put before the people of this country, which led to this emphatic victory. They are actually expecting us to reintroduce road toll and make sure the accruals go to improve the conditions on our road. I have never met any driver who says, I don't want to pay road toll. What I hear them say all the time is, we are paying the road toll. How come our roads are still like this? So as long as we can prove to them we are using this money to improve the conditions on our road, I am sure they will be able to accommodate. However, you are also aware that when my boss, the majority leader, took the chair here, he suggested some of the draconian taxes that are going to be removed in his first budget. Those savings would make more meaning to the ordinary Ghanaian. E-levy is going, and it's a promise the president has made, and it is going. And I'm sure your constituents are going to be happy to see e-levy go. Betting tax is going, and I'm sure the young people in your constituency are going to be happy to see betting tax go. So I know you mean well together in the House, and together with my colleague, Honorable Osei Nyako, and the rest of the committee, we are going to work together to make sure the reintroduction of the road toll, together with the Ministry of Finance, makes sense, it's fair, it is collected fairly, and also it is applied to things that matter to the people of this country. Thank you.
Honourable members, it's now the turn of Honourable Kennedy Osei Nyako, Subject Matter Committee member.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Honorable nominee, congratulations. You and I have come a long way. He happens to be my ranking, and today he has been nominated to go and hold a ministry that he, at the time, as a ranking, was vociferous and wanted to see things done right. I only wish you well, and I hope you're going to do exactly what you had believed in whilst you were holding government feet on fire. But I have a few questions for you. Just a quick one. I want to understand what is the difference between commitment of the ministry and the indebtedness. I want you to explain that one for me.
Okay, so commitment is basically all the road projects that are active, not completed. So we put a figure, the easiest way is to put the contract sum together. That is the commitment. So if you are budgeting, you need to put money aside, knowing very well what number is due to be paid. That is certificate cleared by consultants, either third-party consultants or agency, feeder roads, highways, urban road. That means that you should be writing a check to the contractors or transferring money to them. So that is the difference. One is work on site or yet to be done or certified. The other one is certified work. That is the difference between commitment and debt.
You say that
Is it a supplementary or a substantive? Supplementary. Very well.
Did I hear you say that the arrears, the current certificate
and GOG. And most contractors these days, in the past, it used to be people wishing their projects are under road fund because accruals are known. But since the days of the capping of the road fund, and if I tell you the road fund story here, it's a very sorry story. Most contractors wish their projects are funded by GOG because then the finance minister is the one who pays. So GOG is currently about 20 billion, and interest plus capital for road fund is what is 15 billion.
Okay.
Any further question?
Yes. Honorable nominee, have you cited the presidential transition report on roads, and are you familiar with the figures in terms of certificate that is pending for the ministry to pay in terms of arrears? Have you cited it?
The interesting thing about certificates is that even if you were to go to the ministry today and they give you money as money they owe. Thing about certificates is that even if you were to go to the ministry today and they give you money as money they owe, the afternoon you could find are working 24/7 and are raising certificates on daily basis. So they always raising certificates on daily basis. So they always say this is as of the time they do from the document we cited. Say this is as of the time they do from the document we cited. From the document we cited from the transition team, which is a ministry document, the figures are what I've put out. It could end up being more than this, or unless maybe they paid some huge amount of money before producing this document, then it could be slightly less.
Okay.
Any further question?
Yes.
I
think
no. This is, please, the rule is that you ask one substantive question and you ask a follow-up. So this, so if you have done two, yes, no, you have a substantive question and a follow-up. Please, your last substantive question.
Okay, thank you. Honorable nominee, you and I know that the biggest challenge for the road ministry is in terms of funding gap. That is why each and every year they present their budget of about 16 or even sometimes beyond billion, but they ended up having only 4 billion. You are knowledgeable in that area. You have in-depth knowledge of the issues. What do you plan practically to do to address this funding gap issue that has bedeviled this ministry and making the work at the ministry a very difficult one? What do you plan to do?
Yes, Chairman, my respected ranking and a good friend is right. From the matrix we have seen over the years. We have always argued that for us to be able to make a good impact on the road interventions, the country must be generating and setting aside between 6 to 10 billion cedis of our own money, not borrowed money. How do we fund this? If you speak to the former Minister of Roads and Highways, Honorable Makwata, you are aware, we were close to having a national dialogue on how to fund roads and make it open to Ghanaians. How much can we pay to be able to get the quality of roads we need? Unfortunately, that engagement never took place before he left. And the new minister, our colleague in Parliament, Honorable Asenso, was also in the process. So there's a cohort of people who believe that we should engage Ghanaians on how we fund roads. Together with the committee and the Ministry of Finance, I think we should be plain to Ghanaians. We need to open up the discussion about how we fund roads in our country and make sure whatever agreement we have, the monies are applied. I have argued, and you know about it. When we tell people pay road tolls, and the people pay road tolls, and you take more than half of that money to do free SHS, if you want money for free SHS, ask for money for free SHS. I'm not saying free SHS is not necessary, but when you take money for road, apply that money for road interventions. So as long as we can do this and be open and honest to Ghanaians, whatever they agree, we apply to the roads, and then we can get some improvement. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, your last supplementary question.
Yes. Honorable nominee, will you consider adopting a negligence liability period in our road contract to ensure that contractors who does shoddy jobs are taken on and ensure that they do the right thing? Will you consider that?
Chairman, there are various reasons why we see what we call shoddy works on our roads. Many things account for that. Sometimes it's not even the knowledge of the contractor. Indeed, there is always that 12-month defect liability period on construction projects. But sometimes, especially if you watch asphaltic overlay, it embellishes the problem so neatly for few months that you may never know what is beneath. But after a few months, you realize that it has failed completely. Not only the contractors. I'm an architect by profession. If I practice elsewhere outside this country, the employer insists I take professional indemnity insurance before I touch his or her work. I.e., so if the work fails, he can draw on the professional indemnity to get some compensation. Is it time for consultants taking on huge government contracts to take the appropriate indemnity to cover the services they are providing? Because the Ghanaian doesn't understand why you would do a project in his backyard, a road to say, and 6 months, the rain washes the whole thing away, and then we are looking for another money to come and start. So it will be a combination of these things. I've heard people talk about increase the defect liability period to 24 months. That will not necessarily solve the problem. The problem is that we need to build a capacity and put some of the risk on the back of the consultants and others, but also to encourage government to pay contractors and consultants on time to be able to execute the works within schedule.
Honorable nominee, I wish you well.
Thank you very much. It's now the turn of Honorable Omar.
Thank you, Chairman. My good friend, Kwame, Honorable Kwame Agbaja, congratulations. I have a question on funding, especially having listened to you about the huge... Thank you for correcting. Haven't listened to you about the huge indebtedness in the road sector. How do you intend to meet the expectations of Ghanaians, especially the new roads that we expect you to construct, particularly the Eastern Corridor, beginning from the Temamoto all the way to Yendi. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, I acknowledge that I come into this role with huge expectation, starting from colleagues. On record, the road minister answers the largest number of questions in Parliament, more than any minister. And I must commend Honorable Makwata for that diligence. As long as he's available on Fridays, he'll come and answer the questions. And I used to tease him that as for answering the question, he will answer. As of whether he will do the road is another matter, because of the same thing you are talking about. Well, the president who appointed me has made one solemn promise, that is to be candid with the people of our country. So wherever we are doing anything, he will let the people know. Indeed, we are not going to find it easy to satisfy everybody in terms of how quickly the road leading to the places we live are done. But what we are committed to is to make sure that whatever resources we have and apply to the road interventions, we'll make sure everybody understands what is in the kitty and what we can get. When my boss, the majority leader, sat in this chair, he painted another figure, which is something we should all be thinking about. As you know, as part of the debt restructuring, government postponed a chunk of our repayment or interest until this year. One bullet payment was just done a few weeks ago when the former finance minister told us. But there are bigger ones ahead of us that we must clear. So we would spend whatever is available to be spent on the road. But as of where we find the money, that is the responsibility of the finance minister to carry. My job is to package projects, make sure they meet value for money, and his job is to fund it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any more questions? Yes. If a follow-up, you are entitled to.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Nomni, will you consider new funding methods, at least for us to have either a BOT or PPP routes from Accra to Kumasi, where individuals or road users will be paying using per usage, something like the one we have in the developed country, 10 pikes, so that it can help us speed up transportation network in Ghana.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I gave an indication regarding that when I spoke about the reintroduction of road toll. But I know funding would go beyond just road tolls. And so we are going to consider all those things, including other sources. But like I said, it is not for me to state all the sources that would accrue to road funding. That is the job of the finance minister. I was happy you mentioned Eastern Corridor as one of the things the president actually committed to. It's a project in 6 lots. I think half or so have been done. But from the motorway, actually, okay, you were not there. My colleagues, we approved a loan to a company called INZAG. I'm sure they all got caught up in the debt restructuring. So if you go there, the contractors appear to be working, but the rate at which they are working isn't encouraging. So we have our work cut out to make sure we turn things around, and we are committed to doing that. Thank you.
Thank you. You are done. Thank you. You want one more, then your last question.
Thank you. Mr. Nomni, the President Akufo-Addo disclosed in his 2023 State of the Nation address that his government has constructed 11,974 kilometers of new road. I come from a rural constituency, Zabzugu, We have a lot of road challenges. I don't see it. And I want to find out from you, is this true?
Mr. Chairman, yes, I remember the president appearing in the House as part of his constitutional mandate to update the House on what is happening in the country. And he made us aware of a certain figure of, at that time, new roads. It wasn't pleasant to try to contradict the president because his source of information are better than mine. But the figure 11,000 just jumped out as new roads. And my side said that was a bit less than the truth. Since then, the agencies under the road ministry attempted to adjust the figure as part of the transition. And you remember our view was that only 617 kilometers of roads were new roads, so to stay at the time. At the transition, they provided details. At the time of the transition, the new roads constructed is 673, which is not far from the 617 we talked about at that time, because it means that few more roads have been completed. So that issue is in a record of the Parliament that indeed Ghana did not construct 11,000 kilometers of new roads since 2017. Rather, 673 kilometers have been constructed as new roads. The bulk of the work in the 13,624.25 kilometers is re-graveling and graveling. That is 6,185.90 kilometers. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. It is now the turn of Muntala Mohammed, a subject matter committee. Honorable members, I am dealing with 9 on my right and 6 on my left. I am mindful of the standing order in 2177 to admit the leadership, but that one will not also make it 1-1. So allow me to chair and balance.
Speaker, we will allow you. In fact, we will not just allow you. We will help you to lead and chair. But Speaker, I had already prompted you that, and in this house, you go to your left and then you come to your right, even though we are not seated as we often sit in the chamber. I had prompted you of an expression made by the Deputy Whip. So, Speaker, if you may indulge me, you have gone there. If you may allow the Deputy Whip to have a bite, and then you are not the chairman. Are you the chairman? Muntala, are you the chairman? You are not even a member of the committee.
Honorable Chief Whip, I have numbers before me,
yes,
which I will have to balance. So I'm saying that on this occasion, I'm taking 2 and then coming back to. I will balance the number. Whoever should speak.
Are you going by any ratio?
Able to speak? Yes, yes, certainly. It will
not last. It will not last.
Honorable Muntala, you have the floor. Order.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable nominee, congratulations. My question is simple. In your first year, will you concentrate on completing the abandoned roads or incomplete roads, or you do it alongside with awarding new contracts? And I ask this question because there are several roads that have been working on for several. The Eastern Corridor one, for example. I have an interest because if the road is completed, it takes me lesser time to travel from Accra to my constituency in Tamale, and it opens up the place. And also there are some roads in Tamale Township that are not, completed. So I want to know whether you will concentrate in completing those incomplete roads, or some of them abandoned, or you would do that alongside with new roads? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. The President has already given an indication that he will complete ongoing projects. So we have made that commitment and we intend to follow that. But I can foresee a situation where out of need, we may have to start some new projects to address urgent issues. But the first year, our commitment will be to focus on critical road projects which have been abandoned, to make them motorable for the use to which it was originally intended.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, okay, let's follow up. Well, I should finish before he comes.
Please continue.
Okay. My second question: how do you intend to fund the 10 billion big push that President Mahama and the NDC intends to do? Because that is going to have a huge, the cost is huge. How do you intend to fund it?
Chairman, the big push is President Mahama's big intervention on infrastructure. As a sector minister for roads and highways, it is my responsibility, as I said, to identify critical road projects, package them, after design and everything, make sure it meets the required value for money features, and present them to the Minister of Finance for financing. As we are all aware, the big push is a 4-year, $10 billion proposal. The projects that will go into this basket of projects ought to be cutting edge and the ones that make significant intervention in whichever sector. So they are not necessarily road projects worth 10 billion. They are just big, significant infrastructure projects worth 10 billion. So it equates to about 2.5 billion annually for the 4 years.
Mr. Chairman,
Do you have a follow-up?
yes, a follow-up on that.
There's a follow-up on
Yes,
that. Then you
yes.
can ask your follow-up question. Then I will recognize the chief
Okay, Mr. Chairman,
on a
thank you.
follow-up.
I think the challenge that confronts us in this country on the matter of spending such huge sums of money in road construction is the durability, or how long those roads last. We have had complaints where contractors finish with the road is commissioned, and by 1 year, you find potholes on the roads. As a minister, taking into consideration the amount of money that government intend to spend on that, what measures are you putting in place to ensure that the quality of the roads that are to be constructed using these monies is something that is of tremendous interest to you and concern? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Industry players would put few factors as the reason the roads fail. 2 days ago, I was getting a briefing to the effect that even the materials we use. In some countries, the bitumen that is used on their road are produced by themselves. So the engineers determine the composition. If you watch in our country, even some contractors buy bitumen in drums, imported from somewhere. Nobody is able to determine whether this bitumen is good for our climate. So the materials we use, the design of the road, the supervision. One issue facing the road agencies. Some agencies have, which are supposed to be an engineering outfit, which requires civil engineers, mechanical engineers, quantity surveyors, have more administrative staff than engineers. So you could see an engineer supervising a project, and the capacity is not even there for him or her to be able to do this in reasonable time. So we ought to work on the staffing of the road agencies to have the qualified staff. I've also seen documents that suggest that some of the agencies, the level of the new engineers, the current engineers, compared to when they will retire, there's going to be a gap because we are not recruiting new engineers to be trained enough before they exit. So it will be a combination of how we select materials, the design, the capacity of the contractors, and also government ability to pay contractors expeditiously when works are done. When contractors work, they are not paid, they vacate the site, and you pay them some time. What happens is that once the money is not theirs, the bank takes the money, you can't actually know whether they've gone to the site to do anything. So to be able to deal with this matter, we should address it on all fours. Otherwise, we will see what we are seeing, where you spend 4 billion on a project and then 10 billion as interest on that 4 billion. It's unacceptable and not sustainable.
Mr. Chairman,
Thank you.
I want clarity.
I recognize.
I want clarity on the point he made, and I think it's important.
Please,
just
Honorable
clarity.
Muntala, go ahead and I'll come to you.
Honorable Minister nominee, the issue of the quality of manpower that you use, because you give an example that sometimes people are recruited to work in areas where they don't have the expertise, particularly the engineers. Are you going to engage more technical people for specific portfolios, or you want specific portfolios, or you want to build the capacity of the existing ones? Because I do know that there are some who may not necessarily be engineers. An example is planning. You and I, we all went to the same department. You go to the assemblies, you have people who are not planners, but who have been trained to do works that are supposed to be done by planners. Equally, in the road sector, is it an issue that you build the capacity of those who have been engaged?
Thank you very much.
Or you want to recruit?
Honorable nominee, your response.
Yes, I think a combination of both. And fortunately, Ghana has one of the best training institutes at Koforidua, where they train in-house training. Even members of parliament, we do get some capacity building sometimes within our committees to be able to be effective. So indeed, those in the service already need, to update their knowledge. But critically, we need to recruit new engineers and give them that capacity so that we can have a good number of people deployed on the almost 4,000 different road projects.
Thank you very much.
Honorable Hip, asking this question not to question your competence at all. Far from that. I know you very well. I know you can do the job. However, I hear, and often I've heard colleagues on the other side brandishing $10 million push. You're holding as a low, yes, $10 billion. You're holding as a low-lying fruit. Now, my question to you, my good friend, is, paragraph 4 of your manifesto. You've already shown some regret, the extent of the depth, the situation of the depth, which you have regretted well enough, and we've heard you loud and clear. You've also said that you will sit with the finance minister to be in the context of the situation you have at hand. Now, how will you draw the balance of implementation in terms of the 10 billion, mind you, it's not only for roads, broad spectrum infrastructure. So you have so-called abandoned roads, and then people of Adaklu also come to you after you have been approved. I know you are aware of that. And you'll be coming to the House more often than any minister to answer questions. You are aware of that. How would you draw the balance? So-called abandoned roads and new urgent road needs that also need to be attended to. Don't forget, you have already said that there's no money. And then you are also going to work closely with the so-called the finance minister.
Honorable members, I drew the attention of the House to the fact that for a stated reason, I asked the Marshal to be here. So if any friend of the committee will not remain in silence, then I will be forced to apply the rules. Please, honorable members. Please, Honorable Yusuf.
You see, I'm just talking about your big push. And you are not tolerant to listen.
Honorable Kennedy Osenyako, let's listen to the questions being asked. Honorable Alasan Soini, please.
Mr. Chair, so my good friend, Honorable Abuja, very passionate about the concerns of roads and the challenges. This big push, which I know you are very excited about, and it finds good expression in your manifesto. Yes. Or you are nodding your head? No, my question is, how would you get the balance? We have roads in your own description and beautifully captured by Honorable Mutala, abandoned roads. And then you also have new roads needs. How are you going to get the balance? Are you going to, already you have said that your first year, you will focus on. My question is, how are you going to get the balance? Then again, I'm not done. Mr. Chairman, I'm not done.
Honorable members, I want us to listen to the question in silence. But Honorable Chief Whip, this Honorable Chief Whip, Honorable Chief Whip, Honorable Chief Whip, this is about the third or fourth time we are going to hear the word, how are you going to balance the new rules as against the abandoned rules? So if that is your question, put it to, so that he can proceed to answer the question. I beg you.
Speaker, with respect to you, I'm old enough to speak for myself. I only employ my colleagues to be tolerant. You had the opportunity, Honorable Muntala. I know you want to be seen on the screen, and so that you can get the attention of Mr. P.
Mr. Chairman.
Please, Honorable Muntala, you don't have the floor.
No, but Mr. Chairman.
Please, you don't have the floor.
No.
Please.
It's point of
Honorable Chief Whip. Honorable Chief Whip.
It's point of order.
Go ahead and ask your question. Please, Honorable Chief Whip, I'm begging you.
It's point of order.
Honorable Whip. So how do you get the balance? Abandoned, so-called abandoned roads, and the new ones which may be of good importance. How are you going to get the balance? Yes.
Mr. Chairman, it's point of order. It's important. It is important you allow me to speak out.
Honorable Muntala, you do not have the floor.
So
I still insist that you don't have the floor.
Say that.
Ask your question.
Chairman, my colleague, a very good friend, Minority Whip, is right. And let me state it again. The projects that we are going to prepare for Big Push are not for abandoned projects, small projects. I already said they are the key big intervention projects. For instance, there has been on the drawing board for some time an orbital around Accra, which goes Chopoli all the way to Bujumbura. That project, over 100 kilometers of road, makes a significant intervention in terms of traffic management within the Accra itself. That project ought to be prepared properly, costed, make sure value for money is done, and then presented to the finance minister for funding. At the same time, it is the responsibility of finance ministry to continue funding projects that are on site. So Big Push is not about completing the projects already on site, but the major intervention project that can actually pay for itself, that can actually make huge impact on the country. So that is the difference. So we're not going to stop ongoing projects. The president has already made a commitment to that. However, the Big Push projects are dedicated and significant projects that are not going to be rushed, but are going to be done effectively so that all Ghanaians will get the impact of those projects. So that is the difference between the Big Push basket of projects, which are yet to be developed, and ongoing projects.
Thank you very much. Honorable Muntala, do you have any more questions? You are entitled to one last question. It is now the turn of Honorable Kofi Mafo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to congratulate my ranking who is now the chief whip. I want to congratulate him for his nomination. I heard him saying that for him, the 100 billion debt, the 20 billion, and then the 15 billion, and then 665 million interest. For him, he consider that part as waste of funding. I want to ask him, when he said wasted funds, I want to ask him, what does he mean by that?
Thank you, my good friend. I call you Kofi, but today, Honorable Kofi Mafo. The reason I say it's a wasted fund is this. If we owe 113 million, and because we are unable to pay, the interest on the 113 million is now 665 million. What it means is that the 665 million is a waste to the people of this country, because that money is not 665 million Ghana cedi worth of road works. It's just the 30% compounding interest on the unpaid certificate. That is what it is. Ghanaians get 113 million worth of road, but they pay extra 665 million extra money for nothing. As interest. There can't be a waste bigger than that. And I'm not saying it's peculiar. It only started today. It is the way road construction contracts are put together in this country. There's something wrong with it. It is not the fault of even the contractors, because I earlier said they borrow money to do this work. If we were to pay them on time, there wouldn't have been the interest compounding. So I don't even blame them, because the 665 doesn't even go to them. Perhaps they borrowed money from the bank, and they have to give them that money back to the bank. So the only winners in this case might be the banks. But it's a road ministry supposed to be a source of good business for a bank this way. Yes, they can be good business, but not in this format. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Your second question, or you have a follow-up?
A follow-up.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Nominee. Yes, I want to ask you, if you become the minister, what are you going to do differently?
Yes, okay.
So that 665 million wasted funds will not be there?
Well, my answer to that, I've already provided that. As for payment, it is the Ministry of Finance job to find the money. But what I can do to help, and as I stated earlier, is to bring together the stakeholders, contractors and everybody. I am sure if we were to call contractors and sit down with them and say, look, this debt, frankly speaking, the finance minister, who is the leader of the house, has already stated, if all the taxes we collect is 200 million, a billion, you can't hand over all that to just one ministry. And if you keep that money on the books, it keeps getting worse. So maybe, we need to sit down with all the stakeholders to see where we cut our losses. Do we agree with them? We pay you money. If you owe a bank, we can draw the bank in. After all, did we not see the whole country try to negotiate debt that is owed, even individuals? So I think that the time has come for us to bring together all players in the road sector to see how we can make this sustainable. You see, if government keep owing and we are not paying, we are not even a better customer to the contractor. That is why today you call some contractors, want to award them work, they will tell you it's better to sleep than to take the job, because they take the job and he's got debt on his head. So we need to make construction attractive business to recruit and give employment to young people, especially those in the technical fields, engineers and everything. At the moment, that is not happening. So we'll sit down with the stakeholders to see, maybe the committee can get involved, as we call the stakeholders, and chart a new path. Surely, this is not sustainable. We can't continue this way.
Thank you. Any further questions?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Nominee, I want to find out from you, this capping and decapping has become an issue in Parliament, and you have been an advocate against capping. Tell me, how are you going to decap this particular road fund that has been capped?
Yes, you are right. I've been an advocate of decapping statutory funds, especially road fund. I worked out something. When you see the amount of money collected into the road fund and the amount of money released to them and the one that government pays at GOG, it turns out that basically the finance ministry just take part of the road fund and keep it and give it back to them as GOG funds. So in other words, they don't actually put in much money of themselves. I would still continue to advocate for the road fund to be decapped because it is better for them to have that money and pay off contractors that they owe to stop the compounding interest than to keep on capping, taking away more than 50% of their money, and then the problem stays with all of us. So I'll continue to advocate for decapping of road fund.
Thank you very much. Next question. Probably your last question.
Yes, my last question. Mr. Nominee, you were on record as saying that 240 million was used, $240 million was used for Yigate. Migration Service came out to debunk it, stating that they spent $1.7 million. I want to find out, do you still hold on to the 240 million claim, or you agree with Migration Service?
Thank you very much, my good friend. Actually, I spoke in context. And the rebuttal by Immigration Service, I didn't see how that is a rebuttal. I see it as even a confirmation of what I said. Because, in effect, what they have said is that they were talking about the total cost, the life cycle cost of the project, which is what? 297 million instead of the 240 million. So I was wondering what kind of rebuttal is that? That I allege that you were doing something for 240, and you come out to confirm that you were doing it for 297. But the difficulty for Ghana Immigration Service is that they probably don't know what they were doing. Indeed, the few physical immigration, e-gates that were planted could cost 1.7 million Ghana cedi. But if government had listened to what I was saying, it wouldn't have resulted into some of the embarrassment we saw at the airport when the vice president was trying to commission it. The former vice president. If I were to tell you today that there is not even any contract for the e-gate, there is no contract. So what the 1.7 million they were talking about, there's no contract. And they didn't know. I'm a ranking. I have information. This is a letter signed, this is a memo from the Ministry of Finance. When I started talking, do you know what they did? This memo is dated 19th March 2024. And what is the memo saying? Submission of final proposal on the development of a national border management system. Are you aware that this project is already being implemented by Ghana Civil Aviation Authority? And the e-gate was supposed to be done for free. Why are we even supposed to pay $1 for something that we are supposed to get for free? So when they started backtracking, do you know what they did? They now went and did this memo, and the memo title I've given you. And now they said...
Honorable Kennedy Nyako and Honorable Yusuf, order.
Let me read to you. They said contract value, 147,765,627 million. Then they said contract duration, 10 years of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, You have no business carrying out this. And this is a UN Security Council resolution. It lies with Ghana Airport Company Limited. So I have not said anything that I need to depart from, but to repeat that what they were doing was not right. There's no contract. What they were doing was not right. There's no contract, and it's no value for money.
Honourable member, you have your
Chairman.
last follow-up question.
Chairman,
Do you have
Chairman,
any?
please, Chairman, with all respect to you. Chairman, with due respect, that is why we have subject matter committee leadership. My colleague has indicated that it's a matter he wants to correct. That Honorable Senyako, would you endure him just a minute, please?
Well, I indicated a few minutes ago that when a procedure is set down for a right to be exercised, the procedure must be followed. I intimated to you that when a member has a follow-up question to ask, it is only after asking the follow-up question that another person can be given the opportunity. That is why I'm asking him whether he has a follow-up question or not. So it is after exhausting him that a different person can come. Whip, don't do this to create the impression that I am not being fair.
Speaker, I'm not saying, Speaker, with respect. No, we will never say that you are not being fair. We have a responsibility to help you moderate this vetting. Speaker, exactly that's what we are doing. That is exactly what we are doing. We won't take anything away from you.
So
Speaker,
at this point,
I will defer to you on some of these
the member
matters.
who has the floor
Yeah, so he's
asking the
ready
question.
to-
I am asking whether he has the last supplementary question. So if he doesn't have, then I can use my discretion to give the floor to whoever I'm supposed to give the floor.
Speaker, with respect, but where even that notwithstanding. Oh, what is that? I am not debating. I'm saying, please, would you listen? Listen to me.
Don't lecture anybody here. Please, defer to the chairman. Defer to the chairman. You are not the chairman.
Look, you see, you are not tolerant.
Please,
Learn to be
defer
tolerant.
to the chairman. You seem to be lecturing everybody.
Listen to us. I'm not
Defer
lecturing.
to the chairman.
Me lecture.
Respect the chair.
No. Yes, so our colleague is deferring.
You have made a
I'm just
request.
saying that he's deferring.
You have made a
Look,
request.
I am the chief. I have a responsibility to also
You have
guide
made
my
a
members.
request. Allow the chairman
Why?
to make the decision.
Why?
Please, allow the chairman to make the decision.
So, Honorable Kofi Mafu, you have exhausted all your questions. Now, Honorable Kennedy Osenyako, you want to clarify an issue. What is the clarification?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I just want to make a few clarifications. When the honorable nominee stated that there wasn't any contract for the E-Gate, I'm surprised. That is the first one. Second, he claimed that same project is being done by Civil Aviation Authority. These are two different projects. The E-Gate was started by the World Bank. They did a few ones, and at a point in time, there was no funding, so after the World Bank project, it was suspended. Now Ghana Immigration Service decided to find an innovative means to get the rest to be done. It is not, the cost of the project is not going to be borne by the government of Ghana. Passengers will be paid. They are going to pay for it. It's part of the ticket. And secondly, the API project.
Members, order. I believe the nominee is capable of dealing with the issue.
The airport passenger information project, which is being done by Civil Aviation Authority, is completely different from what the Immigration Service is doing. So I just want to put it on record. I don't know where he got his information from, but I believe some of this we need to put it in the proper context, not to degenerate any kind of controversies at the end. So
Thank you very much. Honorable nominee, any comment?
Yes, my good friend is the ranking currently, and he understands that we both have deep understanding of what's happening at the airport. As part of UN Security Council resolution, those of us who travel through some airports, let's take Singapore, you will notice that when you get to the airport, you don't meet any immigration officer. You take your passport, place it on the e-gate, and it goes through. It is only when they have issues with you that they will direct you to a human being. Why? Because you have provided information already to the authorities in Singapore, and they've checked it, and you are okay. So he's right. When we talk about this, people think we are talking about, initially, immigration said it costs 1.7 million cedis. It is an integrated project. If you read their press release, and I think Graphic published it, they confirmed that, yes, point number 5, the e-gate system alone comprises 15 units of e-gate with accessories, which form part of the border management system being installed at KIA at a cost of $1.7 million. Then if you go back, point number 6, they then go on and say that the 240 million referenced in the in circulation in the article they are referring to me on my social media handle relates to the whole life cycle cost, and the project, including the initial implementation, would cost $94 million. Who says Ghanaians are not going to pay? If you take tax from Ghanaians on behalf of government, it's government money. Why is the entity, this particular entity, believe that something that another entity is ready to do for free? And I'm repeating, this e-gate integrated system is already part of what another entity is doing for free. The records are there. Go to Ghana Airport, Ghana Civil Aviation Authority today and find out whether they have started implementing a project which would have provided the e-gate for free. And come and report to the committee. So this matter must be settled. And that is why I say that Ghana Immigration Service did not debunk me. They actually confirmed what I have said. I know exactly what I'm saying. And I would even encourage them. As far as the UN resolution is concerned, UN Security Council resolution is concerned, it is the law that we have done for Ghana Civil Aviation Authority that is what is supposed to be used to implement this. Immigration officials are only supposed to play a role. Second, it is also something that Ghanaians should look at. Today, we have over 1,000 immigration officers working at the airport. Can you believe it? 1,000 immigration officers at Kotoka alone. Yes. It turns out some people have to go to work once every 2 weeks. So I'm not saying immigration officers are not needed, but which country do you go to that before you check in your bag, somebody checks you? After you check in your bag, before you even approach the immigration officer, 2 more immigration officers look at your passport and give it back to you. Then you go into the booth. Then they stamp your passport. Then when you get out, another immigration officer sees you. Then when you finish and they scan you, somebody is also looking at. Which airport do you see this? It makes experience of when we advertise that Ghana is a gateway for tourism and other things. We all have friends who are expatriates. They don't enjoy this experience. They get treated as if they are criminals until they are proven otherwise. So we need to work on this immigration service to implement this project. And at all costs, if we can get it for free, don't even attempt to take $1 from anybody.
Thank you very much. It's now the turn of Honorable Yusuf Suleimana.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Nominee, let me also congratulate you for your nomination. Like others have said, when it comes to your competence, nobody doubts it. My first question relates to concrete roads. In 2017, the former vice president, I'm talking about the defeated presidential candidate of the MPP, Dr. Mohamed Mahmoud Bawumia, promised Ghanaians that he was going to build concrete roads. And in his opinion, concrete roads are durable, concrete roads are cheaper, and concrete roads are the roads that Ghanaians deserve. You are not there yet, but I believe that you might have interacted with experts or officers of the ministry. Do we have any concrete rules built after the promise was made? And do we intend to go that direction? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Yusuf, for this very important question. I remember the story was linked to the former vice president when he visited one of the roads in Tema. Actually, that project was being executed by a private entity. Exactly. So he went there and saw what was going on and liked it and said, henceforth, you're not going to see asphalt, you're going to see concrete roads everywhere. The fact is that I am not aware government has constructed any concrete road anywhere. It is also misleading to say concrete roads will be cheaper than asphalt, because the QSs and engineers will tell you the road you see as concrete road is actually a reinforced concrete slab. That is one of the highest level of concrete with steel in it. So how is that supposed to be cheaper than in fact, you can get anything between 15 to 30% depending on the mix of the concrete as the additional cost over asphalt. So yes, in some cases, if we can, we should build concrete road. Currently, the only public concrete road of significance is the Accra-Tema motorway, built by President Nkrumah. I'm not aware of any major concrete road project currently ongoing or completed.
Thank you.
Just a second. I want to draw my colleague's attention. He just asked his question. For heaven's sake, please, leave Dr. Baumia alone. Leave Dr. Baumia alone.
Honorable,
I'm not going to take it lightly. Any attacks. Any attacks.
Honorable.
You should leave the man alone.
Honorable Anodombre, you are out of order. Order. You are out of order. Honorable Yusuf, proceed with your next question.
Mr. Chairman, I'm grateful. Mr. Chairman, I think my minority leader should be a bit tolerant. And as long as Chief Whip should be tolerant, and as long as the former president will take all the benefits that are due a former vice president, we will refer to him as and when it's necessary.
Proceed to ask your question.
Yes, Chairman, I will do that. Chairman, even though the nominee has already answered a question on abandoned roads, I want to find out. There were some roads that were abandoned for political reasons. For instance, take roads in the Bole Bamboy constituency. All roads that were started under the NDC administration in 2015-2016 were all abandoned. As a member of parliament, I asked a question on the floor of parliament as to when those roads were going to be fixed. And I remember very well, my good friend, Honorable Patrick Boama, interjected and said that what was Mahama doing and he didn't fix the roads? What was President Mahama doing and he didn't fix the roads when he was the president? Today, if we are going to address the issue of abandoned roads, will you consider prioritizing those that were abandoned for political reasons to complete them before you look at other roads? That's my question.
Chairman, for the vivid explanation and very unfortunate situation described by my good colleague, that will be priority number one in terms of completing abandoned road projects.
Yeah. So
Do you have a follow-up on that?
No,
a member has a follow-up.
My last one.
I recognize Patrick.
No,
Boama.
my last one.
Chairman, I was just, I was just putting my good friend from Bole Bamboy on record that he should produce the Hansard that said I made those comments on the floor, else those comments ought to be expunged. I'm also referring the chairman to Standing Orders 86 on questions and require of you to do exactly what I've requested. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You see,
Mr. Chairman.
proceed
Mr.
to
Chairman, thank
ask
you.
the question without all these sideline commentaries.
Mr. Chairman, those are the ones that makes the question sweet. Mr. Nominee, my third question is that one of the major roads in the Western Corridor starts from Tichimai up to Hamili. As I speak to you, the road is in a very deplorable state. That instead of using 3-4 hours to travel on it, you need a whole day. It's because it was abandoned for 8 good years. Will you prioritize this road when next week you are approved? And I know you'll be approved. Tell me.
Thank you very much. Nominee.
Thank you. Thank you.
Order.
Thank you, my very good friend, Honorable Yusuf. As long as you say about those projects, that is priority number 2.
Yeah. No, I have a follow-up on this. Follow-up. I have a follow-up.
Thank you very much.
I have a follow-up.
A follow-up on the Techiman.
Yes.
Very well.
Yes. I said to you that it got deteriorated because of lack of maintenance. So I want to find out, will you prioritize regular maintenance of roads in this country? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, he's asked a very important question. The principle is that you should spend more on maintenance of your existing roads than building new roads. So, but the records we have in terms of road maintenance, and my colleagues on the road committee can tell, things have gone really bad in the past 8 years. In fact, the record of road maintenance we had in 2016 is unmatched till today. If you check 2023 record, in areas that we do 9,000 kilometers, the MPP government was doing just 3,000. So they have really let the country down in terms of road maintenance program. So I said it in one of my initial responses that we need to commit more to road maintenance. Sometimes all you need to do is to spend a little amount of money to address a spot improvement. Yes. And the road can still continue to be motorable. But once you abandon it, it becomes a major problem and makes the whole road, the use of the road, not safe at all. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Honorable members. Honorable Jaja, order. Honorable members, in line with order 2177, I will take a question from Jerry Shaibu as a member of the leadership of the House. So, Jerry, you may proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I first wish to congratulate Honorable Govins Agboja. My question is, I have made some observations. Please, can you? I've made some very critical observations, including the road markings, street lights, quality of roads, traffic lights, and I don't think that my government has been in power since the inception of this country. So, yes. So,
Honorable Jerry, address the chair.
Mr. Chair, yes, I am addressing.
So please proceed with your question.
I have realized that most of these are dysfunctional. So from my beloved Malam to Kaswa, you would realize that no street light is working. When you get on the major road, the motorway, you would also realize that, stop talking, no street light is working. Most road markings are also not working. In the night, it's not very safe to drive. You can easily get an accident. I know your capacity. I know that you want to prevent accidents. You want to have people drive in a very clean, motorable roads. I just want to find out what are your plans to have them resolved. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
very much.
you,
Yes.
Honorable Nominee, your response.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I think my colleague has asked a very important question. This is our capital city. It is strange that you drive in parts of our city at night and the roads are not illuminated well, no road markings. And I know a number of friends from abroad, when they come, they keep asking, how are you able to drive on these roads? Because there's no signage, there's nothing. With street light, the issue that has come to the attention of the Road and Transport Committee. If you notice, Ministry of Local Government through Common Fund does supply street lights sometimes. Ministry of Energy does supply street lights sometimes. And sometimes they supply these street lights and give it to the assemblies and others and ask them to go and install. Whether those lights are of the highest quality is another question. Whether they are installed properly is another matter. So it is a synergy between Ministry of Energy and the local authorities. As for the roads, the physical roads are under the domain of the road ministry. The safety on the road is between Ministry of Road and Ministry of Transport, because National Road Safety Authority is under Ministry of Transport. So I think this issue can best be addressed with a combination of how we take a second look at that. Whose job is it to supply, install, and maintain street lights in Adaklu? Is it Ministry of Energy or the Adaklu District Assembly? That question has never been answered. But we all see street light distributed to the assemblies and sometimes through members of parliament. Well, mainly during elections. So we need to address this. And many people have also complained that some of the street lights that are supplied don't last. Maybe it is the way it is installed. Maybe it is something else. So we'll address it. But the major things you talked about, including your constituency and the motorway, are of concern. The challenge, though, is that the motorway is currently under contract. They may have to do some work to an extent for us to know where the street lighting would be. Because perhaps if you go and even fix them today, next week, when they are doing clearing, maybe it will be in the right-of way, it will not be there. So as for the motorway, we may have to provide a temporary situation. But your area, we'll look at it. When this committee generously recommends me to the plenary and I get approval and go to the ministry, I promise to get a...
Any further question?
Yes,
Honorable
Mr. Chair.
Deputy Whip.
Mr. Chair, I also heard my very good friend enumerate a lot of problems. One of the major ones is the interest on contracts. And I think I heard you say it's about 30%. Are you considering redrafting contracts so that the 28 days, which is normally when IPCs are raised and they are supposed to be paid, and there is default in payment, that is where now the interest arises. Are you considering redrafting contracts? And if so, are we also considering making prompt payments to contractors? Because this is where, and are you also actually considering having a synergy with maybe some banks so that they can perhaps provide mobilization and pre-financing of some of these projects instead of rather getting to pay them as interest? Thank you.
Honorable Deputy Whip, are you talking about review of those contracts or redrafting?
Chairman, yes, Chairman, I think I get what he's saying. And I know you are one of the experienced lawyers in this house. You know once the contract has taken effect, any attempt to go and redraft portions of that contract, you can, but you need the agreement of the parties that form that contract. So it will be more of the new contracts. I think that is what he's talking about. But that is not the solution. The solution is prompt payment. I know that some banks initially took up the responsibility of providing some support to the contractors. Many of those banks have withdrawn since because of this interest matter. Well, I don't want to mention the banks. Some of them will say, we'll take you on, but we don't want to be responsible for the interest between you and government. Like I said, if you see what has happened on the first issue in 2018, because the delays was on 2,464 days times 30%. So you can imagine. So every 28 days is calculated and added to the other one. So indeed, we have to look at some of the way we write some of these contracts. But until government begins to pay promptly, that would still be very little in terms of achievement in reducing the interest on delay payment.
Any further questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is just a follow-up. And this is on the basis of the review and the redraft aspect. I'm looking at contracts that you would now, as it were, now construct. So new contracts. As to whether or not you want to review, that's not within my remit. But I'm looking at contracts that, as Minister of Roads, are you considering maintaining the 28 days where, when there is a default, you are going to pay interest of 30%? That is the question, please.
Well, thank you very much. You referred to me as Minister of Roads. It is only going to happen when you give it. So I take it as amen. But it is difficult to just say here without consultation. I said earlier, there will be the need for engagement with stakeholders. That's Ministry of Finance, Attorney General, and then my ministry. We can come up with something that is more humane to the contractor and sustainable to government. So I'm hoping, when approved, I would update the House as to the best way forward with regard to this particular matter.
Any further questions?
Yes. Honorable nominee, so the repeal of Act 540 that established the Ghana Highway Authority, and what you think the National Labour Commission has done to virtually suspend the implementation of the National Roads Authority. What's your take or your view on that? It's now an act. We have actually passed it. It's in force. The rationale behind that law is to not collapse the road agencies, but harmonize the way they work, which requires creating a new apex body led by the Director General. Not much about the law, but it appears implementation has got to a point where there's a snag. So there's a lot of discomfort at the road agencies, highways, feeder road, and urban roads. What I can commit to do is to sit down with them and see the best way. I'm hearing all sorts of things. I have no way of verifying them in terms of who is appointed to be the head, which agency the people are from. It is to be premature for me to make any definitive comment on that, but I know the House has approved it. If it is necessary for us to pause the implementation and take a look at it, I will come to the House and seek your approval. If it requires, let's go ahead, but make some changes and bring some allies to operationalize it. I will do the same thing, but it is premature for me to make any sweeping statements about that at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your last question.
Yes, honorable nominee. So I've also cited President Mohammed's 120-day social contract. I did not see anything in reference to roads. Does that make it a priority? And is it a matter that you would want to pay a lot of attention to?
Well, Chairman,
Honourable members, can we have order?
President Mahama.
Can we have order?
President Mahama is very clear on his mind as to what is contained in the 120-day commitment he's made to the people of this country. Indeed, Mr. Chairman, with the kindness of our colleagues from both sides, me being vetted today is also a record of the expeditious way President Mahama promised to form his government. And I want to thank my colleagues from the minority side. The issues he wanted to put before Ghanaians, he's placed them before Ghanaians. It is based upon that that he's been given the unprecedented win in this election. So if Ghanaians wanted him to add road and every detail, they would have talked about it. Road is a priority to President Mahama, but let's look at how he delivers on the 120-day commitment, which includes the repeal of some taxes and many other things, which you rightly said. After that, we can pay attention to other things. But he's not saying until after the 120 days, we are not going to be dealing with roads. Indeed, this is just a second batch of ministers, and the road ministry is part of it. It tells you how much premium he places on the road ministry and other ministries. The other ones are going to come along the same thing. It doesn't mean that the ministries that are not here are not premium, but I'm saying that with specific to the road you talked about, he places a lot of emphasis. And you can also attest to the fact that some of the best and biggest interventions on road in this country happened under his leadership. So he's got a track record of delivering, and he will deliver.
Thank you very much. It's now the turn of Honorable Lydia Odole-Soa. Rita Odole-Soa.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman. I wish to congratulate my leader who has been nominated by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana, for your nomination. Honorable Leader, talking about roads, Honorable Nominee, talking about roads, thank you for the correction. Yeah. The Accra Beach Road, Accra-Tema Beach Road, which passes through the Dade-Kotopong constituency, started construction a long time ago, and the contractor has abandoned site. Due to this, there are quite a number of accidents and pedestrians being knocked down by vehicles because we do not have street lights to be on during the night. I want to find out from the Honorable Leader whether you are going to add this to your priority list to ensure that the La Beach Road will be constructed in due time to assist pedestrians and motorists who ply that route.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much, and I thank our colleague for the question. I live in Tema, so I know the importance of the beach road as an alternative route into Tema. Indeed, that project was ongoing, and originally part of the China Development Bank 3 billion agreement by, may he so rest in peace, President Mills. Since then, the loan was stopped and restarted under President Akufo-Addo. Unfortunately, that project is suffering the same fate of many other projects, including motorway, Adomi, motorway, what do you call it, Central University, and many others. So indeed, the contractor is not on site. Once again, it is difficult to ask the contractor to go and fix street lights where he hasn't gotten a stage to do that. But I think there can be safety measures deployed temporarily to make sure it is safe. So talking to the resident engineer, I think we can discuss how to make it safe for now whilst we wait for the completion of that particular project. It's a very important project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further question or follow-up before
Further question.
Further questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. And Honorable Leader, I'm glad the NDC administration is bringing back the toll booths operations. And I also want to support my colleague that when operations begin, in as much as we want to prevent leakages, the persons with disability who were recruited earlier and dismissed should be reconsidered so that they'll also be gainfully employed to take care of their families. I want to have your take on that.
Thank you very much. We are bringing tolling of public roads back. We are not bringing toll booths back. As I said, it will be deployed on a platform, which means that there wouldn't be physical toll booths where drivers will have to stop and pay. So with regards to the disabled people, sure, we are going to be able to re-engage them. I even said that earlier. We'll re-engage them and make sure that those of them who are capable of playing a role are brought on board to play a role on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further question or follow-up? Very well.
Thank
Your last
you,
question.
Honorable Chair. Honorable Minister, nominee, going into the Ministry of Roads and Highways, your colleagues will be knocking at your doors, and I believe we are going to find you when we come there, including myself. I know there are some 2 doors to your office, and I believe when you are there, you attend to us and open your doors to us. On this note, I want to say congratulations on your nomination. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me an idea of where the doors are. I've not gotten there yet, so I don't know where the doors are, but surely the door that opens for you to see me, I'm one of you, will be able to do this together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's now the turn of Honorable Patrick Yaw-Boamah.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Let me congratulate my good friend and brother Kwame Agboja for his nomination. I wish you the very best, Kwame. Kwame, just to inform you that Sunyani Techiman, Wenchi, Sola Wa have all been awarded for rehabilitation, and Measures Maripoma, Hardwick, and Volta Impex are the contractors. Just to inform you. Thank you. To my first question. Tesano has very good roads. Kwame,
please proceed. Please proceed. Address the chair and proceed with your question.
I will continue,
Honorable Suleimana Yusuf, please. It is not only speaking into the mic that can be disruptive. If we talk about disruption, it is not necessarily speaking into the microphone. So please, take a cue. Your question.
Chairman, every MP from Circle, that's Okankwe South, to Paga, if that person doesn't fly, we either go through the east or through the central corridor. The dualization of that stretch began in 2002 under President Kufuor. Minister Gidisu, at a point, suspended the dualization program to the extent that Honorable Alote Jacobs, at the time after your Congress in Sunyani, raised issues with that suspension. President Kufuor came, he continued from Kwafu Krom, which is in Samoa Drajiri, to Apedra. I remember in 2009, President Mahama even commissioned the overpass around the old Peace FM area. 9 indigenous contractors, Kwame, are undertaking the dualization program. Osino and Yinem, up to a point, around your area, Jasu, that area. Want an assurance from you whether those projects will be duly completed, and the remaining 94 kilometers from Joso to Konongo will be tackled. And to continue from where the Swami interchange is being constructed through Techiman, Kentampo, and Tamale and beyond. That defines our country's road infrastructure. And the fact that a similar intervention was made from Rawlins's time, may so rest in peace, Kaneshi to Malam, Kufuor continued to Kaswa, to Yamransa, and to Alubo, under President Mills and President Rawlins. Amen. Kwame, those are critical roads that has caused a lot of accidents. And if for any reason you want to be remembered for as a good minister for roads, including Pong to Aflao, you need to remember for these roads. What assurances are you giving to the good people of this country on these critical roads that I've mentioned? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I earlier gave the indication that the president himself had committed to completing ongoing projects. You are also right by listing these projects as projects on site. The little challenge is that many of these projects are on the back of GOG. So once the contractors raise certificate, they are not paid. In fact, the bypasses on the Accra-Kumasi Road, you can tell that the intensity of the contractors have dwindled significantly. So it is not merely awarding the project. It is about finding sustainable sources of funding to deal with them. You will notice that in 2022 or so, you mentioned Swami Interchange. We approved the loan. I probably was the one who seconded the motion for it because it's a critical, intersection in Kumasi. And the way it is creates a problem. Since we approved it, it was supposed to be a project done in 36 months. But you know that the contractor only turned up on site somewhere close to the end of this year, in the last year. And the percentage of work done on the interchange, guess what? Less than 2%. Terrible. Yeah, there are two components. The interchange component and the other road network within the area. The other road network within the area is just about less than 10% work done. Also because of the debt restructuring, because it's a loan, a commercial loan from somewhere. So as long as we can find the resources, and I indicated earlier, my job is to prepare and package projects and for the finance minister to fund. I would never relent in the advocacy to make sure we have enough money in the kitty to pay contractors working in our communities, including Adaklu. I have no doubt that colleagues have the bigger burden of addressing road issues in their communities than anybody else. And together, once we can find the resources, we can deal with these things together, including the road to Joaso and everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further
You
questions?
love Joaso. Kwame, I don't know if you have your party's manifesto with you. If not, let me turn your attention to chapter 4 of the NDC 2024 manifesto. Powering growth through infrastructural development, and more particularly to the road sector. Let me get there. You've listed a lot of roads and bridges to be constructed under that paragraph. That's paragraph 4.2.5, upgrading road transportation systems. A lot of roads. Pages 107 of 200, Roxanne, if you care to know. Pumankuma, Boko, Boga, Tumuwa, Tamale, Yendi. You've listed a lot of roads. Abrin, Sawam, and to the extent that you are promising to even regularize Okada and what have you. under it. It's in the manifesto. I've seen about 13 bridges and also a paragraph on road safety. Kwame, given the situation in which you find yourself in and the facts alluded to, that the indebtedness of the road sector is close to 100 billion cedis, which you know that the MTEF had made provision to pay for it over a period and is captured for the 2025 to 28 MTEF program. How are you going to fund all these ambitious projects? Is it going to be another Green Book promise? Kwame.
Thank you very much. And
Please, order.
Chairman,
Please, order.
I'm happy.
Order.
These are very important questions, and I'm happy he mentioned Green Book. Kumasi Airport, Phase 1 and 2 was mentioned in the Green Book. In fact, I was there at the meeting in Kumasi, yes, when the committee insisted that the phase that came around the time NPP came be added to the phase. Today, the airport is there for all of us, Prempeh International, and it's to the credit of this committee. MPS project at Tema, that is the port project, is in the Green Book. And that project is one of the most viable income generation entities. The Legon Hospital is in the Green Book. And it's the highest end of medical facility in our country. The Ridge Hospital is in the Green Book, and it's one of the best. And many, many more. Circle interchange. Tamale Airport phase 1. So, as for the Green Book, it is a record of achievement. And I think maybe unlike the project tracker, these ones are a bit in color. You can see them in color. But the significant question you asked, how do you fund this? I must be frank, and I've said it already. The finance minister designate was here, and he said the revenue is just about 200 billion. How do we fund all the things that we needed to fund, including salaries of us members of parliament? We have to work together to cut waste. How do you cut waste? The fact that President Mahama is insisting on having only 60 ministers is one of the ways to cut waste, without a doubt. Nobody would have thought that a president would say 60, and that includes deputy ministers, regional ministers. People say he cannot do it. He is doing it. So he's a man of his word. Yes, it's going to be tough, but NDC has got tough people to address the issue. I am not promising all these roads that have been awarded. I was very unhappy when we approved the Swami interchange, and work never started until somewhere close to the end of last year. And as we speak, less than 5% of the work done. How could we have done that to somebody who served this house all these years? I'm talking about Honorable Che Mensah Bonsu. We've not been fair to him. So, yes, we'll continue that project as long as we find the money and deal with this. So, I agree with you that the list of projects is almost endless. And the difficulty is that some of the methods used to procure these projects also ought to be reviewed. If you have a situation where, for instance, a project is awarded in Ghana to a Ghanaian contractor on a design and build, he comes up and he goes to site and he later comes to tell us how much he wants to charge. Meanwhile, you have already contracted. And he comes up with even a ridiculous figure Meanwhile, you have already contracted. And he comes up with even a ridiculous figure, you are bound to deal with it. So we are also committing that so that we can tie the cost down so that we can budget properly and get them done. So
Raise money to top up or to get a full funding. Thank you. And congratulations again, Kwame. I'm done.
I think my colleague has a very important question. This project is very dear to the people who use that corridor. In 2016, I think once again I was, on behalf of my then chairman, moved a motion for the adoption of this. So the bridge component was coming from JICA. I think it's about just about 10 billion yuan or something like that. The difficulty is that since then, for the 8 years, we didn't do much because the Japanese insisted we build the approaches from Masuchari Junction to the bridge and from the bridge to Esikuma. Because the bridge, the access has to be there for them to come and install the bridge. It is only recent that I'm told AFDB have given the money for the construction of the approaches. The contractor, we are told, just mobilized to site, so you wouldn't see much going on. Yes, you are right. When they went to tender, the bidder who won the tender, the bid is twice what the Japanese have committed to give us. So it will be important for government to approach Japan to discuss the funding gap to make sure the project works. I am hopeful we can do that. Thank you.
It's not the turn of Honorable Mahama Ayariga. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Chairman. And let me join colleagues to congratulate our Chief Whip on his nomination to the Roads Ministry. You gave us an indication of the commitments of the Roads Ministry. And then we have seen very starkly the variation between what we actually got by virtue of the value of projects executed and what we owe by virtue of having not paid and then the debt accumulating based on interest calculated based on a formula that you yourself disagree with in terms of road contracting. That is evidence of a certain indiscipline, which is to award contracts when you haven't budgeted for them. You haven't made provision for them in your budget, you don't have money for them, and then you award contracts. Is this a culture that will continue?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No, this is not a culture that Ghanaians even want us to continue, even if we wanted to continue. I can understand why some projects may be awarded in an emergency without full packaging. But the norm should be that projects are properly packaged, costed before going to site. And we have already committed that that will be the norm for major projects. If it's necessary for us to do quick interventions, i.e. a bridge is collapsing, that is a different one. But the norm should be that projects should receive best value for money through competitive tendering. Thank you.
And the second question
Thank you very much.
The second question is, when you're flying into Accra, when you're flying into Kumasi, and I think the same for Takoradi, you will see that apart from the major roads to the communities, in between the residential facilities, I would say 90% of the roads are not done. And then when you go into an estate, go to any estate, you find that the estate owner has done all the inner roads of the estate and apportioned the cost to property owners in the estate, and they are happy to pay and live in very fine estate. with all the roads down so that in the evening they and their families can walk around, exercise, and then they are happy. Does that give you an indication? Does that give an indication of some that probably exist for financing those inner roads between the residential areas that you could be looking at?
Yes, Chairman, it's even associated with even government projects. There are significant hospital projects done in this country, commissioned and is in use. But the road between the hospital and the main road, if you were to be even in an ambulance, commissioned and is in use. But the road between the hospital and the main road, if you were to be even in an ambulance,